Three reboots, a machete and a guide, and here we are. Um, I don't know what happened, but I do know that StreamYard, is this the mic? Is the right mic even working? It is. Okay. Um, StreamYard had a problem because they're browser based. They're not like other ones. There's no place to reinstall software, not unless. And then I couldn't even log into my account on StreamYard. They were supposed to send me a reset, and I never got it. I couldn't wait for it, so I kept reinstarting this computer. Everybody's trying to tell me my camera's not connected, my mic's not connected, like I'm some sort of stupid idiot that's never worked with media before in my life. But I went and checked all that, and there's other ways to do it. Sure enough, camera's working, mic's working. It was them. Now, mysteriously and suddenly, it's working again. Now, I don't know if that means if somebody's messing with us, and I'm hoping this is the right mic because it isn't. It is. But there's been messing going on. You might have heard of Lou Elizondo's book was leaked. And I've been talking to people in the know, and it's like they're trying to mess with him. Leak means that you can get it for free, which I'm telling you right now, none of you better do. If you want to read his book, please just pre-order it on, I think it's, what did Whitley tell me? It's on Google. I'm going to check. Boy, the phone's been busy today, and it's all been this subject matter. Let me read what he says. It's on Google. It was leaked on Google. And of course, the book, I believe, is on Amazon, and you can pre-order it. And he goes into some pretty amazing things there. And they're already leaking it. They're already reading parts of it on YouTube and stuff. Some of them are being good people and saying, I'm only going to read a few tidbits of the book because I want you to buy the book. I just bought the book. But if you read it for free, you're a rat. So sorry. I'm kind of grumpy right now because that was intense not being able to get on. And I need to look into this later this week and talk to StreamYard and say, what the hell was that? So you didn't get your intro and all that, but that's okay. We got in here amazingly. So I'm hoping that many of you went to the community or to the Substack or to my website and read what I had to say today, because I got another message. I woke up with it this morning. It was very strong. And it's like, wow, you really want me to write this? So I did. So it's in it's in community. You can read it there. Did you read it? So it has a lot to say about, everyone's saying, why is this happening? Why is this going on? And that goes for everything that's going on in the world right now. There's a big reason for it. And I was given that reason last night. So if you want to read it. Anne, of course you read it. You're Anne. Thank you, Anne. So tonight we have a very, very sweet and wonderful man who we recently got to know through James Benjamin Pike. And his name is Earl Grey Anderson. And he is the state director here in LA for MUFON. And he's had lots of experiences. And when I asked him to be in an episode, it was funny. He said to me, well, I guess he watched, but something is there, and he thought that was maybe an episode. And he says, well, I can't possibly tell my whole story in 45 minutes. I'll need longer than that. So I said, no, we don't. We try to stay to around 10 minutes or so. And we were doing 20 minutes, but we found that 20 minutes doesn't hold an audience. Now, I know it holds you guys. I know that all of you here will watch the shows all the way through. And I really appreciate that. And so does Mary. But the general public who has an interest in this subject won't. They'll watch a few minutes of it and just leave. They don't even give it a chance. So there are many reasons for this, but what we have found, if we want more people to understand us and this phenomenon and how we relate to it, and maybe why it's happening on this planet right now, then we need to keep them shorter so that they watch them all the way through. Thank you, Mary, for putting that up. And it's working. It's getting people to watch. The show we did 2 weeks ago, which was a short film, Reality, it continually, steadily gets more views every day. Whereas some of the shows we did, they would immediately go zoom to 50,000 or so. And then that all sort of petered out. And part of that's YouTube. Some of that's people messing with us. I hate to say that. It sounds very paranoid, but I believe it's really happening because it's happening to so many people I know. But for some reason, when I did that format and I did that short film that way, it is continually every day getting more and more views, and it will continue to do that. It's up to about 18,000 views now, which is pretty remarkable considering up to that point it hasn't been that well at all. Ever since whatever happened that we don't know what happened. So the one I'm working on now is about, we talked about it the other night that I do have post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's mild, but it's there. And usually when it hits me, it's like if I'm driving on a highway late at night and there were Caltrans workers to one side of the road and they have all these bright lights on that they need to have at night, those really bright ones, to work, and they're all wearing the hard hats and stuff. That bothers me because of what happened when I was probably about 10, 11 years old and in Bernie, California, which is a mountain town way in the middle of nowhere. And I was out with my grandmother and step-grandfather, and we got stopped in the road. So I'm doing an all CG 3D account of that. You will never see me. You'll be looking for my eyes only. I'm not even going to show the child that I was then. It's all POV, and you'll be taken through the whole thing, where I stayed in Bernie and the things that happened there, because it wasn't just that. There was this creepy barn that was on the property because it was an old logging town house that we lived in, and I would find myself in that barn with some shadowy figure talking to me at night. So this it's going to be an interesting one, and also this way I don't have to look at myself on the screen when I'm editing and see how I'm reacting when I'm reaccounting this stuff, which can be quite emotional at times. And so I found this really a nice way to do it, and I think that most of you appreciate that as well. So I said you had what does that say?
Had one.
I looked up early 5 minutes ago. I said you had run already 8 minutes ago. Might lose some traffic. Yeah, well, whatever. We lose some traffic. I had what I wrote today in the community, which was the message I got last night. I was just compelled to write it this morning, so I did it and got it off my chest. It was interesting that one of the people that commented, what they do is YouTube shows you in community a little bit of the text, maybe a sentence, and it goes ... read more. Under that's an image. You click on the read more and you get to read the whole thing. But whoever this was, I don't think they read the whole thing, because they went off in a tangent about why we're not getting more views and how everyone's burned out on UFOs and we're not being told anything new, and all these things are supposed to happen with disclosure. And that had nothing to do with what I wrote. So that kind of told me, I'm not sure, but that he probably just read the first line and didn't even see the read more, or just didn't open it. Because some of you did, and he had some really nice things to say, and I appreciate that. But one of the things I said back to him is I really don't care about numbers, and I don't care about how much money we make and all that. We did this to help people, including myself and Mary and our friends, with this. I won't call it a problem. It's not a problem.
Situation.
What how people are being today overall in this world and this planet is the problem, and we're the solution. And we know what has to be done, and we're a community, and this channel was started for that community, so you could share your stories, and those you and the people interested in this are the only people I care to reach, because the rest of them are fairly unreachable. You try to tell any of them that this stuff is real, and they'll throw a cake in your face, or worse. Did you all happen to catch Gary and what he had to say about the scientific community, and in particular Neil Tyson? Did you get to see what Dr. Nolan said? Did you guys watch that? It's on Community. I found what he had to say powerful, and it kind of shook me up. Like, yeah, he was being nice about it. I've been too nice. He just said it like it is. He's shot from the hip. I just thought he was great in doing so. So, yes, what, Hot Rod? Oh, I'm not going to go anywhere, not unless they dust my doorknob or run me over crossing the street. No, we don't have any plans to stop doing this. It's like I said, it's not about the money. We are spending plenty of money to do this. But that's it's not going to stop us. So this is Justin says what I wanted to say to Tyson for a long time. Yes. Shut up, Mr. TV host. Oh, good. Hot Rod saw it too. Yeah, because I feel that we're being pushed back on. There are so many people coming forward, even people who are not, as far as they know, experiencers. They're getting incredible video and pictures. They're brave. They because so many other people are doing it, they're coming forward, and I saw something too, and this is just something they do not want. The other thing is that, what is it, the subject of my runny nose? The other thing that I've noticed is, and I've been talked to about, asked to sign petitions and everything else, was this pushing for experiencers, people like ourselves, to go to Washington and go in front of a hearing. That's like the next thing they want to do in October. I refuse to be a part of anything like that. I don't trust our government. I don't trust those people not to have us go in front of national television, in front of them, while they try to emasculate us and call us crazy. It's a setup as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully somebody will prove me wrong. I am open-minded. So but my feeling is that they want to kind of put the whole iPad encounters with the people driving the spaceships that they've been recording and monitoring. They want to put us to bed. I feel they want to put us down and make us out to be lunatics. So, and liars. And yet the irony about that is, if you watched the Senate hearings and you watched these guys sit there and boldface lie to camera and say they weren't aware of these various cases, especially the ones dealing with the silos, the ones that Bob Solis was involved in, and others, that they had no record of that. They heard about it, but that was all, and that was just hearsay in the media. They're liars. So if you watched, Christina Gomez was incredible, and so incredible that show that she did about the Senate hearings and her commentary on it so much impressed Mary and I that I immediately got on the horn to Whitley and said, "You got to see this girl." And he did. And he was so grateful. So he's going to have her on Dreamland, which is a good thing for her. So she deserves it. She earned it, and she really put those people in their place, the liars who are saying that there's nothing to this. So this is becoming a little bit of a battle. Now somebody leaked Lou's book, which means they must have hacked in somehow, some way into his computers. And I only know certain people that have that capability, and they're usually hired by the U.S. government. So they wouldn't put it past them. They did that just to ruin his chances of making any money off that book. So that was mean. That was cruel. So now that we've talked about a bunch of negative things, let's talk about happy things. I'm sorry. Between the software issue and, I wanted to talk to you about all this stuff. Anyway, it's hard. It's just really hard. I've been on the phone all day. I use Signal, and most of the community that I know, that I work with, people who are very deeply involved in this phenomenon on all different levels, from being hypnotherapists to being whistleblowers themselves, are all on this, so that we can keep a certain amount of privacy to what we're talking about, which I'm sure drives the powers that be crazy. But just chatting on using the regular message service on Google and stuff, and it's probably not the most secure thing in the world. So, and it's been binging all day. In fact, it was binging just a second ago. I got to take a look at it after the show, because there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, she'll love that. You've heard her praise, Mr. Strieber. Okay. Mr. Strieber. I'm watching Star Trek movies on Pluto. Star Trek. Wow. I always love it when the skeptics say, well, what's wrong with these people? They watch too much Star Trek. Well, I worked on Star Trek, and I knew Gene Roddenberry, and I worked with the original cast, and I did more than one film, and I grew up on Star Trek, and I loved Star Trek because of what it had to say. It was positive. It was, it was us getting together in stopping this whole monetary system we have on Earth, and we dissolved all countries. We had one flag, United Federation of Planets. We became one race working together to explore space. And we found that the seed of DNA had been spread out all across the local star systems, and there were all types of humanoid races existing out there at different levels in civilization and development. And they looked different because their environments were different that they came from. That really is good science, I think. To me, I mean, I know that this planet, I can't tell you how I know. I just know this planet was seeded, and I know a whole bunch of more were seeded, and I know the comments have been going around seeding worlds and putting water on them with the building blocks of life, and this amazing double helix, which seems to, in those conditions, evolve life forms that you will find as we go into space will be similar everywhere we go. That Earth is just a microcosm for what's out there. We're not unique. We're not the only humanoid types of beings. And I think Gene knew this. I don't know how he knew it for sure. Maybe the same way I know. I don't know. But, that made it a great show. The Search for Spock was your ultimate favorite. That was a good one. I didn't work on that one. I wish I had. But it was good. It had great things to say about us. It had hope, and it had the beauty of exploration and meeting other cultures and sharing in our diversity. That's why, for me, Star Trek will always be one of the better science fiction shows or movies that were made out of all the different space stuff that's been done. There's only one other that I really, really love a whole bunch, and that was the James Edward Olmos version of Battlestar Galactica. That show was incredible. If you've never seen it, you need to binge watch all 4.5 seasons of it, because it was like one big long movie, and it too had amazing things to say about human beings. The original Star Trek began 10 days after my first encounter. Wow. That was 1966. And I remember it well. I remember watching it the first time. It was in black and white, unfortunately, but I watched it and I got hooked. Then I saw 2001, and literally it did blow my mind. And that film probably is the greatest movie ever done on this subject matter we're talking about right now. Non-human intelligence and how it's shaped us. Never watched Babylon 5. But 2001, Catherine McLeod told me I need to go see when I was in high school, that if you like Star Trek, it's better than Star Trek, you told me. So I jumped on a Greyhound bus and went into San Francisco to the Golden Gate Cinerama and sat there and saw a big lion projected on the curtains, and then the screen opened up and there was this low rumble, and also Spock Zarathustra was playing as the moon shadowed against the stars and dropped down, and there was the earth, and it was a crescent like the moon, and then behind that was the sun rising over it, and then 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was one of the greatest moments in cinema. It changed my life forever, and it's why I went into the film business and started the Steve Neal film empire. Right, Catherine? And here it is, still alive today. Catherine and I jumped in her VW Bug back in, God, what was that? 70 or 71. And she had written a really great little story and script, and we came down to MGM and tried to get it made. I'll never forget that. It was overcast and humid that day, I remember. Welcome to LA. The only character on TV show or movie I ever thought was like me was Counselor Troy. Okay. Catherine, yep. Yeah, I worked with her rather closely on the pilot, Encounter at Farpoint, and Jonathan Frakes. He was a really nice guy. And my late wife Jilly and her got along really well because they're both Brits. And, it's like I remember everything like a movie. I can see when she was sitting there on stage next to the set talking to Marina, and then Gene drove up in his golf cart and said, I've got this really great scene I've written for you in the script. And it was amazing. Amazing times. Oh, hey, Earl. We were just talking about you. So you made your parents take you to see 2001. My mom wasn't interested. In fact, she never saw the movie in her entire life. I came home and I said, "You got to see this," because she was very intellectual and very scientifically oriented, and she just never took an interest in it for some reason. I don't know. But it was a great film. So how are all you guys? What's going on? Any of you having experiences? Any new things being said to you? And see, you have any sightings? Anything you want to share? I'm afraid to be unbelief, right? Oh yeah, sure. Well, he was on. Wasn't he on the Paranormal Borderline too? Because I remember I worked on a show that he was host to. I did a lot of those. I did sightings, paranormal borderline. There were some others. I did some of the Bob Kibiak stuff and the what is that? That James Fox guy. I think I worked for him at some point. And well, that's okay. You know, these things happen. It was cancer. What else? So I had a dream that wasn't a dream. Well, then two actually. How do you know it wasn't a dream? Oh, and how do we know what a dream is? Oh, so you had a encounter with Marina, huh?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I will. I'm not going to say what I know, but I can tell from what you wrote that you saw a different side to her. I'll leave it at that. Oh, I'm waiting to see if I get any blowback for using my real name in town as an experiencer. Nothing so far. Well, no, because as this guy tried to point out to me today, you know, it, while he probably didn't read my whole story that I had written, he said, "Oh, people have an attention deficit disorder. They have no attention at all. Their attention span is zero, and so chances are, if you come forward and even go on national television and say, I've had experiences with non-human intelligence, and I've been on board some of these craft. They're not going to know anyway because none of them watch the news. They don't watch national television. I don't even know how national television survives. So few people are paying any attention to it. So, I love all the 60s UK. You're talking about Supercar and some of the others, aren't you? Jerry Anderson stuff. Great stuff. She started to jump up that table. Maybe she was drinking tequila like in First Contact. That was a great Star Trek movie. I like that one. So what do you think? You think there's a race out there like the Borg? Or how about R.H. Giger's beings? I don't know how much you guys know about Mr. Giger, but I think we only know what we are allowed to know. That's true, but you do know about R.H. Giger, right? I got the real strong impression and feeling that the things that were in that original Alien movie that he was responsible in creating really came from some sort of source, dreams or something. That something like that's very much out there. Let's hope it never comes here. Is the Ouija board experience related to this subject? I suppose it is. I mean, because it has to do with spirit. And I have personally experienced in my youth, when I was in high school, some pretty alarming and scary experiences with the Ouija board that basically got me to stop using it. I'm allergic to Ouija boards. Yeah, I mean, look, when you know someone really well and you're close to them and you know they'd never lie to you or do anything deceitful, and she has her hands on one side of the Ouija and you have your hands on the other side, and it yanks away from both of your hands. Well, first it pulls you, you think it's her doing it, but it's not. And then it just yanks, literally goes flying out from underneath your hands and off the board and hits the floor. What was that? Just one of those things? As Richard Dreyfuss said, which things? Which things? Yeah, I mean, there's clearly something going on there. So, and again, you've heard me talk over and over again about the relationship between our experiences.
Bell.
Oh, Bell. Thank you, Moss Pianist. Thank you very much. Oh, geez, Hemi Twist. Thank you very much. You guys are just trying to shut me up, aren't you? It's a way to do it. I have to ring the bell every time you do that. So, what was I saying? See, it worked. No, I was talking about the relationship between. That's what I wrote about this morning. Between ghosts, the realm of the dead, the physical and non-physical, and how it all relates to this experience. It's because, in my opinion, anyway, and this is what I was told, that the non-human intelligence that we're often dealing with is so far advanced of us in evolutionary terms that they know very well that when we cease to exist physically, we continue to exist spiritually as a spiritual being. As spiritual kind of sounds like religion a bit, but meaning spirit. We continue being who we are to a degree. And we actually go to different realms and different frequencies and places that people I have seen repeatedly talk about as being the same who have actually passed on. And the visitors, even the grays, are reported in being there all the time. So there's definitely a relationship between these two things. You know, as long as we continue to think that, in the vast majority of us do, that when we die, when our brain stops functioning, we cease to exist, which is kind of a stressful thing when you only have maybe a good 80 years, if you're at best, you think you have to live. This is quite a motivator for greed and war and grabbing all you can get before you go. Because after you go, there's nothing else. And you can't take it with you, so you might as well do your worst. So go read what I wrote in community. Lynn, thank you. All right, I'll shut up. That's it. Lynn, thank you so much. And see that there goes signal. Bing. It's the interest in us as a community coming together, and that includes the whistleblowers and the people like Lou and other whistleblowers and people in the inside that I know, is increasing exponentially. It's really amazing to watch and be part of and be in the middle of. And I was talking to Kim today. Trotman. I don't know. Have you heard of Kim Trotman? Because like Yvonne, she is a researcher, a hypnotherapist who works with people who have close encounters of the third kind with non-human intelligence. And she herself, very much so, has had those same experiences and has since she can remember in the crib, because she was quite taken by reality and how I showed the crib and the gray looking over. So she's going to be on our show on the 30th of August, which is going to be a live stream. We'll see if we can get her up here to go on camera as well, but and tell a story and reenact it. But it's great to have her. I've known her for a long time. We just kind of got in touch again, and that's probably her binging me right now. And so there's more and more of this happening. It just keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And unlike what's going on with the hearings and everything else, this disclosure movement, this seems to be much more active, much more on the increase. So it's how do we disclose this to the public? How do we make this our mission to disclose what's going on, what's been happening is for years, in my case, I'm 72 and so I don't know, 6 to 8 years or so, or maybe more. I don't know, but it's been happening for a really, really long time. And there are people older than me that that are still with us, very much so, and they've had it too. This is a big deal. And so, how do we, besides what we're doing already, how do we get this to more people so that they start thinking differently about their own existence, because they've been lied to for so long and told that everything that goes up must come down. When you're dead, you're dead. I mean, that's just, how do we do that? I guess that's the way we're doing it right now. And everyone, all the skeptics out there, they say, well, of course he's got a book. Oh, another book. Oh, a book. Well, God darn it. We don't write books and put them out there so people can leak them. How are anybody's going to know? Wes, thank you so much. Thank you. Really, thank you. This is all really helping, by the way. It really is, and I appreciate it. So we're going to work real hard to try to get this out there. When I was listening to Gary Nolan speak, he was resisting using terms such as alien and alien, the AD word. He was keeping it to non-human intelligence. He was not using the A word. He thought it was very important to do so if we hope to bring some credibility and get people who are on the fence about this to listen a little bit closer, because every time they listen a little closer and they actually spend any time with the subject matter at all, they find out the same thing that happens to everybody. Oh my God, there really is something to this. I thought these people are all crazy. How many times you heard that? So that tells us that we are capable of reaching people, but we have to be careful about how we do it. And it's all in the wording, because words are powerful and we have to be careful. So how do you feel about that? I mean, it's just, we've been very casual and free with those expressions, aliens and alien. I won't say that because of what already that's done to us. Daryl, thank you so much. Wow, Fitzgerald, thank you so much. This is really appreciated. What was I saying? You guys keep shutting me up. We're impatient, but we must wait. Well, we know. Well, yeah, we're waiting. We are patient. I am patient, but I just, I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to render the shot that's 3,500 frames long on my at the machine I have at home, that is inside the recreation of the house I stayed in Bernie, California, with my grandmother and grandfather for a whole year and many summers. And it takes you through the house and in the fireplace and goes out the door into the night and goes over to the creepy barn that I used to be taken to at night and go in there and have a talk with a shadow thing. I've worked on it for 2 days. So the show we're going to have in 2 weeks from today is going to be one heck of a ride. So we are getting close to the show starting. I'm just taking a quick look at some of the comments. I know Mary let me know if there's one I need to put up. I've thought about posting my experiences during that time in the forum, but it's not at all ET related. How do you know it's not ET related? Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't know that they're aliens. Yeah, you need a new word for well, taken's okay. The bots don't seem to notice that one. So it does sound nasty, and there's many people who believe that that is in fact was what's occurring, and it's wrong, and it's against our moral and ethic code, right? I mean, look how humans behave on Earth. what they do to animals and the wars and stuff. So I don't, and they torture each other and everything else. So, but again, how do we know that we're not part of the whole thing and have been since before we were born? So maybe that does give them every right to do what they've been doing. I am starting the process of writing sort of a book about my whole take on this at this point in my life and why I think it's happening. But I'm not going to put it out for sale. I'm going to publish it on Substack for free. If you want to contribute on Substack when the book comes out, that's your choice. But it's not something I'm looking for. I want people to be able to read it. And I want people to not accuse me of doing it to make money. I don't care about that. I really don't. I just want it to get out there. I want people to see it. And is what usually happens, and it's already starting to happen for the few people I've talked to about what I'm about to reveal, is that they're all saying that's the same thing that they know, but we're afraid to say. So maybe this will bring this to another level. So I like Richard Doyle. He realizes good parts wrong. Consider what's next, what really happens after disclosure. Yeah, I just don't know what to think. I just don't know what to think about disclosure. I know people are honestly, seriously working hard to make that happen. But you're up against people with so much money and so much power. If they don't want it to happen, it's not going to. At least not in that way. And I think that's why the scientific community is trying so hard to put us down right now. They've been doing it all over the place. And we are global, and they are not talking global disclosure. Well, everyone else is pretty much so. And Lynn, thank you. Well, no, we shouldn't work for free, and I'm not saying that Lou, Wes, thank you. I'm not saying that Lou should offer his book for free. I would never do it. I have not met him yet. I know that I'm going to. I don't know. I just feel that's kind of in the stars. But it does help. It helps a lot, Wes. People need that, as you pointed out, Lynn, people need to make money, they do. But again, and I know that people on Substack, and they've already been doing it, have been contributing and subscribing even when they don't have to, and contributing monetarily. There are a lot of free subscribers, but there are a lot of actual paid subscribers, and I never asked for it. And I am so grateful to those people who are doing that. You know who you are. So we are going to fire up the monitor here so we can watch the show with you. And I think you'll really enjoy Earl. He's one hell of a great guy. I feel like I've always known him. It's just, you know how that is with some people. And he's fabulous. He's genuine. He's who he really is. And I think you'll find his accounting of what happened to him the first time, because we're going to have him back to do more. 45 minutes is not enough. No, it isn't, Earl. But this is a great one. It's short, and he just does a great job. He's terrific. So I want to thank you all for all the support you've given Mary and I, and all the love. We love you back. So I really do. And just thank you. Just really thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye.